Here come the most incredible human dwellings that you wouldn't believe exist, places where people actually sleep. After seeing them, you might even feel the urge to try them out yourself. Imagine a bizarre home, perched 1,400 meters above the ground, where turning over means facing an abyss. You have to time your bathroom breaks just right. Then there's a temple clinging to the mountainside, appearing as if it could tumble down at any moment. Yet it has stood firm for over 1,400 years. And let's not forget the most terrifying hotel. Waking up there could leave you utterly shaken. Join me on this journey to explore these extraordinary places. Number 8. The ultimate cliff dwellers. This world is never short of daring adventurers who push the limits of human endurance. Like rock climbers scaling cliffs, unlike typical indoor or outdoor climbing, cliff climbing involves a true test of life and death. Usually, these climbers can't reach the summit in a single day, which means at night, they have to find a way to sleep suspended on the sheer rock face. This is how the ultimate nail households come into being. They get this name because, at heights of 1 to 2,000 meters, they create simple sleeping platforms using nails and basic materials, leveraging the cliff structure to secure a relatively stable position for the night. This makeshift bed is arguably the most dangerous house imaginable. Yet these adventurers are not just accustomed to it, they actually enjoy it. For them, the adrenaline rush is just part of the experience. But the real challenge comes when nature calls. Halfway up a cliff, far from civilization, finding a private spot to relieve oneself can be impossible. In such situations, they might have no choice but to shed their inhibitions and take care of business while suspended in midair. As for what might happen to those below, well, that's anyone's guess. Number 7. The Cliff Village. In Sichuan's Liangshan, China, there exists a remote village, far from the hustle and bustle of modern life. The villagers don't reside on the plains or at the foot of the mountains. Instead, they live precariously on the edge of steep cliffs that soar over 1,400 meters high, where a single misstep could lead to fatal consequences. Due to their geographical isolation, the villagers' living conditions and technologies remain relatively primitive. Their homes are mostly simple wooden structures, built with traditional materials. There's no emphasis on aesthetics or architectural design, just a focus on functionality. For their basic needs, villagers find ways to meet them within the confines of their community. When they need to descend the cliff, they rely on a few rickety vine ladders. There are no other options available. It's safe to say that everyone here is a warrior. These terrifying ladders would terrify anyone with a fear of heights, yet the villagers navigate them with ease. In recent years, with the government's poverty alleviation efforts taking effect, the Cliff Village has gained significant attention thanks to national policies and funding. The community has received safer climbing ladders, and local tourism resources have been developed to some extent. Number 6. Wazoko Senior Apartments in Amsterdam. Amsterdam faces a tight land supply, and against this backdrop, an urban renewal plan mandated builders to construct 100 senior apartments in a designated area for collective housing for the elderly. As construction progressed using conventional methods, the builders struggled to design more than 87 apartments within the land constraints, leaving them 13 units short of their goal. To meet the government's requirements, they decided to take an unconventional approach. Rather than expanding horizontally, they opted to build upwards. This meant adding 13 additional apartments to the existing 87 by cantilevering them out from the side, without encroaching on the land limits. This technique, known as cantilevering, is typically reserved for large structures, making the idea of cantilevered apartments quite rare. Many predicted that the plan for the senior apartments would fail, but to everyone's surprise, it was successfully realized. However, seeing apartments suspended in midair without any supporting structures beneath can be unnerving for the elderly residents. While the design has been accomplished, whether they can truly feel comfortable living in such a setup is another matter altogether. Number 5. Hanning Monastery in Shenxi. The Hanning Monastery, located in Dadong, Shenxi, China, is truly a masterpiece perched on the cliffs as a well-preserved ancient structure. Its artistic, historical, and cultural significance far outweighs its practical value. Built over 1,400 years ago, during the Northern Wei dynasty, the design of the monastery is ingeniously clever. It is secured to the cliffside by numerous rods resembling rebar. Though many of these do not bear weight, the true stability of the Hanning Monastery relies on the cliff's natural structure. The monastery hangs more than 50 meters above the ground. At first glance, this height may not seem alarming, but considering that most residential buildings have ceilings of only about 3 meters, the altitude of the Hanning Monastery is quite impressive. The monastery perfectly embodies the trend of integrating the 3 teachings of Confucianism: Buddhism, and Taoism in Chinese history. Visitors who gaze up at this architectural wonder often find themselves marveling at how the ancient craftsmen, without modern tools, managed to construct such an awe-inspiring edifice. Number 4. The Sutyagin House. In 1992, a Russian named Nikolai Sutyagin began building his own house. His approach was quite unusual. Instead of expanding the floor area, he was obsessed with increasing the height of the structure. His goal was straightforward: to create the tallest house in Russia, and indeed all of Eastern Europe. To prove to the world that he was a superior, wealthy individual. Whether he truly achieved that superiority is debatable, but his construction efforts were certainly notable. However, Sutyagin didn't follow conventional architectural designs. Instead, he built in a haphazard manner, resulting in a structure that was wide at the base, narrow in the middle, and suddenly expanding at the top, creating a bizarre and eclectic appearance. This house wasn't merely for show. He actually lived in it. Unfortunately, due to its wooden structure, the government became concerned about fire hazards and mandated that it dismantle the upper portions, allowing him to keep only 4 stories. It's a bit of a shame, considering all the effort he put into it. And UMBR 3. Liechtenstein Castle. Liechtenstein Castle is a Gothic-style fortress located in Germany. With a history of over a century, it embodies the ingenuity of 19th-century Europeans. Some say it is the most dangerous house in continental Europe due to its architectural flaws. But because it sits at an elevation of 817 meters, its lofty position adds to the sense of height. From a distance, the castle's peak pierces the clouds, giving the impression that it is on the verge of separating from the ground. The view is shrouded in a misty, surreal quality, while the castle itself is stable and not at risk of collapse. Standing atop it and looking down can evoke a disconcerting feeling of potential freefall. The height truly plays tricks on the imagination. Historically, this fortress has shielded Europeans from formidable enemies, serving as a robust shield that keeps dangers at bay, enveloping its interior in a protective cocoon. Due to its rich history, Liechtenstein Castle is regarded as a cultural treasure by many Europeans today. Its museums and art galleries are filled with beautiful inspirations, making it a captivating destination. And UMBR 2 Cliff Capsule Hotel, claimed to be the most extreme hotel in the world. The Cliff Capsule Hotel is located in the medium-sized country of Peru. As the name suggests, this hotel is built on the edge of a cliff. More accurately, it is suspended over the cliff. As there's little support around it, the exterior resembles a simple capsule-shaped room, with only 3 identical capsules on the entire rock face. Each capsule can accommodate 2 people, meaning the hotel can host a maximum of 6 guests or even fewer. Generally, only thrill-seeking adventurers opt for this unique location. After all, if you forget to secure the capsule door, you could easily roll off the edge and fall to the bottom of the cliff. Despite its basic materials, limited facilities, and even less than stellar service, the price is nearly $300 per night, making it more expensive than many star-rated hotels. The high-altitude adventure is its biggest selling point. Guests must climb up and then zip-line into the capsule, turning that entire experience into a thrilling challenge. In UMBR 1, Korowai Treehouse. Deep in the South Pacific lies a cluster of small islands, home to many isolated primitive tribes, particularly the Korowai tribe. This community of around 30,000 people leads a lifestyle that resembles that of Stone Age humans. Until just 50 years ago, they were unaware that other humans existed on Earth. In the Korowai tribe, people typically live in treehouses. While treehouses are rare in the modern world, they are a common sight for the Korowai. They choose several sturdy trees as supports, using the thickest tree as the core structure. Similar to load-bearing walls in modern buildings, natural materials like vines and stones are then used to construct their homes. Due to the large trees, space is limited. The treehouses are usually 6 to 12 meters above the ground, with some reaching heights of up to 35 meters. It's remarkable how the Korowai managed to build so many homes that are both precarious and reliable high up in the trees. The height, materials, structure, and geographical location of these homes all contribute to their level of danger. The world's 8 most dangerous houses are all astonishing in their own right.